this. Okay, so I'm going to help you with your homework. I've got a homework problem, number 16, and that's not quite dark enough. It all depends on how I'm zoomed in or zoomed out as to how thick something is. It's kind of strange how that works. But anyway, number 16 on your homework. Um, the first question says net area. So the net area, negative pi over 2 to pi of 5 cosine x, okay, dx. All right. And so this one, I'm going to do the net area part. So this is going to be, I'm going to pull the 5 out front, just pull the constant out. We talked about how we can do that. So I'm going to pull that constant out. So then we have cosine x dx. Okay. So now the derivative, the integral of cosine sine. So this is going to be 5 times the sine of x, and then we want to evaluate it from negative pi over 2 pi. All right, so I'm going to plug that in. Plug it in. It's thicker here. So I'm going to plug in pi, so that will be 5 sine of pi minus 5 sine of negative pi over 2. Right? Sine of pi is 0. So that's just 0. And then sine of negative pi over 2 is negative 1 times negative 5. So that's going to be 0 minus 5, which is negative. Forget your parentheses. There we go. Let's get this squared away. All right. Let's try that again. This is negative 1 times 5. Okay, so that's going to be a plus 5. So my net area is 5. Okay, so that's my net area. All right. But now they want to know the regular area. Okay, so now they want to know the regular area. Now remember, if it's below the x-axis, it turns out to be a negative area. If it's above the x-axis, it's a positive area. So I think what I'm going to do is sketch this graph to kind of see what we're looking at. So if you remember how to sketch a cosine graph, okay, cosine is going to start up here, and it's going to, depends on how you do it. You can do a graphing calculator if you want, I guess. Just make sure you know your periods. Okay, so cosine graph is a U, so it starts here, goes down through pi over 2 to 0, back up to here, and then negative pi over 2 here. Okay, and so my limits of integration would be negative pi over 2 pi. So I'm looking at this section here. And I'm looking at the area. So the area of this is this section and this section. Okay. So now we calculated the net area is 5, and so that's what this is. That's the net area. Right? So the actual area would be the area of this first one, which is positive, plus the absolute value of the second one. Now remember, this one's going to be negative, Okay, the area here is going to be negative. So it's the area of the first one plus the absolute value of that one. Okay, so this would give me the, the area of this first section would be negative pi over 2 to pi over 2. Plus the area of the second one, which would be pi over 2 to pi. And technically, I'm getting the absolute value of the second one. Because we know it's negative, because we look at the graph and we can see that the answer is going to be negative. And so we do the absolute value of that. Now, since I've already done the integration, I'm going to, and I'm running out of room here. Well, I guess I could scroll up. But I've already done the integration. So remember, the integration is right here. So this one is going to be, this will be 5 sine x evaluated from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2 plus 5 sine x evaluated from pi over 2 to pi. I'll put that there. To pi. Okay? And the absolute value of this one, because again, this one we know is negative, so whatever it is, we're just going to take the positive of it and add it to the other. And that would make sense. Okay, so now let's do this one. All right, so now we'll do 5 sine of pi over 2 minus 5 sine of negative pi over 2. That's the first area. That'll give me the area of the positive section over here in the purple. Okay, so if I do that, sine of pi over 2 is 1. 1 times 5 is 5. Sine of negative pi over 2 is negative 1. Times 5 is negative 5, but it's minus a negative 5. So this is going to give me 10. So this area over here is 10. Okay. Now, I bet you can guess what this area right here is. I can guess what that area right there is. But let's go ahead and do it. All right, so now plus, okay, now we're going to do this other one. We'll do 5 sine of pi minus 5 sine of pi over 2. And again, we're doing the absolute value, technically. Just brackets, but absolute value. Okay, so sine of pi is 0. 0 times pi, which is 0. Sine of pi over 2 is 1. So this is 0 minus 5. So this is negative 5. We're going to do the absolute value, so it's going to be a positive 5. Okay, which is what we guessed. And so when I add these two together, I get the actual area, which is 10 plus 5, which is 15. The difference between net area and actual area. Because remember, the area that this one, remember, we got a negative 5 because it's below the axis. You get 10 for that one because it's above the axis. So this one's a negative 5. But for net area, it's 5. But for area, you have 15. Hope that makes sense. Hope I can figure out how to stop this video.